This is section 1.3, solving equations. So first we're going to write an algebraic expression to represent each verbal expression. If you still have trouble with the keywords and what they mean, make sure you look at your translating sheet. So 2 more than 4 times the cube of a number. So 2 more than something, so we're going to have 2 more. More means plus, so we're going to have a plus 2 at the end because we have 2 more than something. Then we have 4 times the cube of a number. Now we don't know what number, so let's use the letter n to represent that. So 4 times the cube of n. Well, cube means exponent of 3, so it would be n to the 3rd power. Since we want 4 times that, we would need a 4 in the front. You can put the dot for multiplication, but remember when they're right next to each other, that also means multiplication. So we have 2 more than 4 times n cubed. That looks good. Now I want you to try this one here. Alright, so quotient means divide. So I'm going to write a fraction bar. So we're dividing 5 less than a number. We're not sure what number, so let's do n again. And 12. Those are the 2 things that are getting divided. So and 12, so that's going to be the bottom, the denominator. And then 5 less than a number. So we want to take 5 away from something. So the minus 5 would actually go at the end, and we're taking that away from n. So be careful with less than. Okay, it's taking it away from something, so it goes after that. So we end up with n minus 5 over 12. Alright, so solving equations. Remember, we use inverse operations to solve equations. So on this first one, we have m minus 3.24 equals 42.1. So remember, to get rid of the minus, we're going to add 3.24 to both sides of my equation. And 42.1 plus 3.24 is 45.34. So m equals 45.34. Okay. And then this next one has a fraction. So this is negative 5/8 times x. Okay, but remember, to get rid of a fraction, we don't divide. Okay, because if this was just a number, you divide. You multiply by the reciprocal to divide fractions. So the reciprocal is just flipping the fraction over. So we're going to multiply both sides by negative 8/5. So on this side, the 5's and the 8's cancel out. We just have x. And then 20 times negative 8/5 is negative 32. Because the 5 would cancel the 20, make it a 4, and 4 times negative 8 is negative 32. Alright, I want you to pause the video and try these 2 problems here. Alright, so hopefully you added 14.29 to both sides of this equation. And then 25 plus 14.29 is 39.29. So x is 39.29. In the second example, it's multiplying by a fraction. So to divide a fraction, we multiply by the reciprocal. And then negative 18 times 3/2 is negative 27. You could also have done 2 goes into 18 9 times, and then 9 times 3 is that 27. Perfect. Alright, so here's a more complicated question that you would have seen after you learned a few things in Algebra 1. So hopefully those other ones were super easy. Let's try one of these harder ones. So distribute the 5. That's always our first step. If we have parentheses, distribute so we can get rid of them. So 5 times x is 5x. 5 times 3 is 15. 2 times 1 is 2. And 2 times negative 1x would be negative 2x. Okay, now this left side is kind of complicated. We want to make sure that we combine like terms so that we only have one set of x's and one set of numbers on the left side. So we have a 5x and a negative 2x. Since they're on the same side, we just combine them, and 5 and a negative 2 is 3x. And then we have a 15 and a 2, which is 17. And that's hard to see, so let me switch colors again, which equals 14. Now that the left side only has one set of x and one number, or constant, okay, we can just solve. So to get rid of the positive 17, we're going to subtract 17 from both sides. Okay, and 14 minus 17 is negative 3. Then it's 3 times x, so I'm going to divide both sides by 3. And negative 3 divided by 3 is negative 1. Now if you're not sure if you did it correctly, you can always plug your numbers back into the original equation. So if we did that, and we had negative 1 in for these x's, okay, negative 1 plus 3 would be 2, and 2 times 5 would give me 10. 1 minus a negative 1 would be plus 1, so 1 plus 1 is 2, times 2 is 4, and 10 plus 4 does indeed give me 14, so I know I did it correctly. So you can always check your answers when solving equations. I'd like you to pause the video then and try these two problems. Alright, let's see how you did. So this first problem has one set of parentheses, so we need to distribute that 3 in so that we can get rid of the parentheses. So 3 times 4x gives me positive 12x, and 3 times negative 2 gives me a negative 6. So the next step is I want to combine these like terms on this left side. I have a negative 10x and a 12x. That gives me a 2x. And now we can solve the equation. So we have a negative 6, so to get rid of that I add 6 to both sides. 6 plus 6 is 12. Divide both sides by 2 and x equals 6. Alright, this next problem, we have two sets of parentheses, so make sure you distribute into both. So let's do the 2 first. 2 times 2x is 4x, and 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. Now this second set, be careful, this is a negative 4. So negative 4 times 3x is negative 12x, and negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. Okay, we have two sets of like terms, so let's combine those. We have 4x and a minus 12x. Okay, so that'd be a negative 8x. And then we have a negative 2 and a negative 4, which is negative 6. Now we have a simple two-step equation. To get rid of the negative 6, add 6 to both sides. That gives us 8. And then divide, since that's times negative 8, divide both sides by negative 8, and you get x equals negative 1.